Welcome to the InfraScale Podcast, the show where local business meets AI automation and advertising. Every week, we flip the mic. One episode, it's AI in advertising. The next, it's AI in operations, infrastructure, and with no Silicon Valley hype, just real, usable insight to help contractors, service pros, and storefront owners scale smarter. This is where local business catches up and gets ahead. And in today's episode, we're going to be interviewing Rob, and we're going to be going through AI and automation in local businesses. Rob, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Zachariah. How are you?
Doing pretty well. I'm excited to be here. We can just jump right in. So Rob, tell us, why, let's start with automation, because that's what most people are familiar with. Beyond the typical, so that I can just have some kind of instant response when a lead comes through my door or what have you, whether that's during business hours or after hours. Why is automation so crucial for a local business?
Yeah, so there's a lot of things automations can do to help you. And, that's where AI is coming in and only making it better. But when it comes to simplistic automations, everything that revolves around your sales systems is about speed. So there's tons of companies that are doing marketing. There's tons of companies that are reaching out to local businesses to do marketing for them. But what happens once a lead or a prospect truly comes into your sales pipeline? So a lot of the time with these local businesses, they're running on pretty lean teams. You've got either an owner-operated business where one person is doing 90 to 100% of the tasks. It might be a mom and pop shop where you have husband and wife or two spouses going at it together. Or at most, maybe you have a super lean team and the operator is focused on a lot of the sales operations. So no matter what situation that is for people, it's really hard to keep up with everything at once, especially in regards to marketing. So, whether it's 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. and you're just taking your lunch break, regardless of the time, when a lead comes in, you usually won't know unless you're sitting there staring at your Facebook ads manager, or you have a back-end CRM tied to it and you're staring at the screen. Now, if you do have a CRM tied to it, this is where automations come in. Whether that's as simple of an automation where you're being sent a notification letting you know that you have a new lead. So you're walking around with your phone. You could be in the business, out of the business, in bed. I don't care. You can be notified that that lead comes in and remind yourself to reach out to them as soon as possible if it's too late. There's other automations that will do the outreach for you. So those scenarios where it's 11 p.m., after hours, and a new lead decides to come in. A lot of people are scrolling on social media late at night and they fill out forms. Well, you're not going to call them at 11 p.m., but if we can get a text message sent out to them that says we acknowledge them as soon as they got it, especially if we have some sort of offer or drive to an offer in that automation through an automated text message or email or both, ideally both, then you're going to stay in that person's mind. We can also delay a second response to go off first thing in the morning. So, 8 hours after the lead comes in, they might get another text. So now they saw a message from you before they went to sleep and when they woke up. And ideally, you'll be calling them shortly after business hours open. So I've touched on a lot of things there, but the point is that automations, ideally in terms that we're speaking about, they help you not only get in front of your prospects faster, but stay in front of them and stay at the top of their mind. It really stops them from going and checking out what your competitors are offering or continuing to fill out forms on Facebook. And that's the goal. If you can't reach them right away, we want something in place to do that for us.
Yeah. And so, okay, now let's just imagine I'm a local business owner, right? And my concern is my automation might sound like automation. And to a degree, no matter what, there's going to be, there's going to be some obviousness to that, no matter who you're sending automation to. But how can I have automation that gets me higher conversions? Because as a local business owner, I might be thinking, okay, yeah, I mean, I've got automation already, and my experience has been that maybe it gives me a 5 to 10% increase in opportunity rate, whether that's like going out to get a quote or booking some job or closing a deal or whatever, right? But it doesn't give me the lift that I would love to see. How can you just style your automation and the messaging to sound a little less robotic, a little more human or personalized, despite there being some dynamic elements in there?
Sure. So we write all of our automations as if we were, just designing a text that we would send to a friend or to a prospect ourselves. A very simple outreach tactic. So your first message, obviously introducing yourself. Hey, it's Rob with InfraScale. Just reaching out because I see that you saw our ad and filled out your information. Love to grab a quick time to chat, right? Something as simple as that. I mean, obviously it's impossible, somebody's receiving a text message instantly. Without the help of AI, it's really impossible to make it sound genuine, and you only have so many options of how you start the conversation. But you want to introduce yourself. You want to introduce yourself as a part of the business and connect with them on something. That something is usually that they saw your advertisement. You need to let them know exactly who you are and quickly try and position yourself into a real conversation. Some people opt in for, automations in which they're just driving people to more content rather than trying to book an appointment. That's a little easier to sound more human-like. Hey, it's Rob with InfraScale. I saw that you just checked out our ad. Why don't you look at some other things that our clients are doing on our website? And then our next message, 8, 12 hours later, maybe, hope you got a chance to check out some of that content I sent over to you. You mind grabbing a time to chat on my calendar? So things like that. You just want to be personable with your clients, just like you would be in your day-to-day text messages. Really, you're not going to see that human-like element come into play without AI, without some sort of learning system in the background to really fine-tune the messaging.
Yeah. Okay. And like as a local business owner, I might, especially because AI is becoming more prominent, and maybe as a local business owner, I've seen ads for some kind of AI technology for local businesses, but I'm still clinging and holding on to automation is the way, or maybe I believe AI can work, but I've had some bad experiences a few years ago when it first came out, and maybe it ruined my customer experience. So as a local business owner, how can I understand, okay, the maximum value of automation, and then also where automation, its capacity like ends?
Sure. I mean, to your point, if you've tried AI a few years ago, it was basically brand new, and it really wasn't that great. Today, it's a lot great after the different ChatGPT models came out, Grok models, all these large language models that have improved the learning capability of the AI that's built from them. So to answer your question, automations are designed to give simplified messages or simplified emails or simplified processes a way to take action at specific times that you outline over and over again. It's very good at completing simple tasks in a very specific timeline with the same response every time. So what that's good for is what it's always been good for, getting that initial touch point, getting yourself more notifications, maybe moving people around in your pipeline, helping clean up your systems, helping get more touch points. That's the two things I really look at automations for. And every person I've ever worked with who's built CRMs or clients of ours who have had prior CRMs, it all looks the same. You're just trying to clean up your processes and remove manual work, but it doesn't allow you to fully stay out of it. What I mean by that is, let's just use the example that most people will care about, which is touch points with a prospect. So if I send you an automated text message, you fill out a lead form, 7 p.m., we send you an automated message, just like I talked about before. Hey, Zachariah, it's Rob with InfraScale. Saw you were just checking out our ad. Mind grabbing a time to chat below? If you don't respond or you do respond, no matter what, the system's either just going to remove you from that and I'm going to have to manually take over the conversation if you're like, yeah, I'd like to grab a time to chat, or you're going to go into a link, book an appointment, and it's just going to remove you. That's the ideal case. Let's talk about the non-ideal case where you respond in some sort of fashion or you don't respond at all. In that scenario, automations only do what they were laid out to do. So it's going to wait until its next touch point time is met, and it will send you the next message. Usually we're continuing to prompt you to book an appointment or to go watch some additional content. And it's going to continue to do that until there's no more automation left. Right now, with AI, you can design it and push it further to continuously reach out, continuously follow up, and to not have such scripted prompts. It will actually act as if they're a knowledgeable business owner or a knowledgeable employee in your business. That way it can ask questions that you would ask. If the person responds, the prospect responds, it's going to know how to respond without needing to wait till a certain time to do so, without having a scripted response, and without you having to jump in and take over the conversation. The goal is, on one side with automation, we're looking at you still playing a major part in the process. The other piece is you can actually act as if you have an employee who's taking over an entire process for you. So, if we have an AI message or AI voice appointment booker, that AI is going to do its job, and either it's going to book the appointment or they're not going to book, which they wouldn't have whether you were working the lead or the AI was. Versus automations, once it runs its course, that's it. Either you jump in or that's it. The lead's gone. So.
Okay, yeah. And so with that, as a local business owner listening to this, I may go, okay, so automation is good it's better than not having any kind of process to instantly or, nearly immediately follow up with someone. But its limitation is that it's going to be very fixed in its timing. It's not going to be adaptive in terms of responding, like AI would, whereas the AI employee will be able to be trained to have a conversation with someone over text or maybe even a call, depending on whatever the case is, in a very human-like fashion.
Sure.
And so now I may be concerned as a business owner, and actually recently one of our most recent clients that we brought on, and I had talked about this, but she had a concern of, I really kind of mama bear with her clients. Like, we know our clients. This is an HVAC company out in Texas. Hey, we know our clients. I have a great relationship with them. Like, I don't want some AI coming in and just basically booting me out of the picture.
Sure.
And so as a local business owner, if I have some concerns about that in terms of And you have the other extreme where another guy we spoke to earlier this week, he was saying, this guy was a pool builder, and he was saying, I want the AI booking my calls. Like, I don't want to be taking calls, I want it to book all my calls, right? So you have these two sides and these two approaches to wanting to implement AI in one's business. So starting with the more, hey, I don't want AI to basically replace my human connection with my customers and with my clients. What would you say to that concern?
Sure. Well, there's two layers to it. And the first layer is that you're not removing the human element. Like, appointment booking is not where you develop connections in the sales space. Doesn't matter what business you own. Appointment booking is usually a speedy process where you're qualifying a lead, trying to understand what their problems are, and quickly arranging a time for you to come assess that problem, right? So in our business model, we see a new lead come in. If we're reaching out, then we're just trying to figure out, how they found us, why they're interested, and when they're available to chat. There's no connection building in that conversation. I mean, you can, but really, you want to find time to really be able to develop that connection. Now, as I've explained to that client that you're speaking about, the real connection is made both in the true sales process, so when you're signing the job, and when you're delivering the service. Then you continue to provide that customer support and customer service over time so that you can retain them as a client or get them to reach out to you the next time they need something done. So that concern can be easily mitigated by just understanding that, AI, we're not going to have a robot go out to people's houses, assess, HVAC damage or services required, and sell the job, and then that's their point of contact for the rest of history. We're simply using AI to take over something that really is a minimum wage job. Let's put it that way. It's the same thing as if you were to look into the other side of a business, financials, and you took data entry versus data analytics. Data entry is a manual plug and chug job. AI can take that over. It is something that doesn't require a true human element. But a human is going to be able to take that information and be able to relay it to team members, still with that human element where there's a connection that's being provided to clients. So that's the way I look at it, is what can you remove yourself from in your business that doesn't actually provide you a lot of value in return? And appointment booking is one of those things.
And so then the next thing someone may be concerned about, like if I'm a local business owner and I'm not the most accepting of like just AI in general, maybe I have concerns if AI is going to take over jobs, AI is going to dominate us someday, or whatever the case is. And then I hear, oh, AI can do the appointment booking. What I may interpret that as is, oh, like I'm put someone else out of work, or maybe I don't even have someone in that role right now, but I am preventing the possibility of someone, a real human, being able to have a job where they're getting paid and can provide for themselves and or their family and so forth, right? What would your response be to, because we hear that sometimes on different clients before they become clients, or different calls we have, that's a concern. So how would you address that concern?
Sure. So it's not going to be the same for all business owners. That's just the truth, right? Some owners are going to want to remove employees and automate things and drive more profit to their business. And, that's not up to me. I think that's perfectly fine. There are other companies out there that are still going to want to retain employees and keep human employees on payroll. Now, like I touched on in my last response, humans are still needed within the sales process. So if you're somebody who wants AI in your sales process, but you're worried about taking away jobs, why don't you just promote somebody who is an appointment booker into a closing role and allow AI to do the simple task and allow them to do the more complicated tasks, which is going to not only teach them more, probably drive more revenue to your business, and provide them with a more secure job that provides a better value to them and their families. That's the way I look at it. Now, there's always going to be businesses, especially the bigger ones, that are willing to create leaner teams. But the reality for the smaller companies who are scared to adapt to AI, your competitors either have AI or they have massive call centers. So if you're an owner operated business who's trying to compete with, a company that's doing 20, 40, $50 million in revenue a year in your market, and they have a call center working for them, who do you think is going to reach your lead first? You that has, 20 leads on your plate and only so many hours in the day, you got 15 other tasks to do. You're not just appointment booking, or somebody who has 40 to 50 people making calls on their leads. The answer is pretty simple. So, you have to do yourself a favor and help yourself somewhere. I don't care if you want one human appointment booker and one AI appointment booker and you let them work side by side. It's really up to you how you design your business, but you will lose to people who adapt to AI. That's just the truth.
Yeah. And another thing I tell these business owners, well, number one, there's alternatives. Like in reality, especially if you don't have a call center where you have people who start their shift from 6 or 7 a.m. until 2 or 3 o'clock, and then another one that's going from 2 or 3 o'clock to like 9 p.m. and then another that's carrying maybe up until midnight or 1 a.m. Because I've spoken to people who have that kind of system, right? And so it's like if you're a business owner, a local business owner, catering to a local market, and you don't have those kind of systems, and you have the concern of AI basically impacting human employment. I was speaking to last week a different business owner, and he was telling me, he was like, hey, I would only want the AI for after hours when no one's picking up the phone anyways. He said, I've got people in my office who are taking calls. I want to keep it that way. But if it could be to where either when those people are on their lunch break or just like after 5 o'clock until we open again, that's perfect. I would love it for that. Cause he was like, I'm not picking up the phone at 3 a.m. That's what he told me. And so there's a place for it really in any business scenario, unless you have people working 24/7. I don't see a scenario where a business owner can't be advantaged by AI. And then particularly AIs that will take phone calls or text people and be very human-like. And then the other thing I tell people is, to your point of promoting people, it's like, why not use it to supercharge your growth? It's, hey, especially if you're an owner operator and you're wearing multiple hats in your business and your team is lean, but it's lean because that's just what it has to be right now. Leverage AI. You don't have to fire people. Leverage AI as much as you possibly can to help you grow faster. And as you grow faster, you'll make more money and be able to hire more people, right? So AI can even help you in growing your human team of employees, right? 100%. And so it doesn't have to be the enemy. Now, if we're talking, I don't know, Elon Musk someday with the Tesla robots wants to create an army. I mean, okay, that's an issue, but that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about how you can utilize technology that gives you advantages that just were not possible at all before, at an extremely low cost compared to paying a human being, while still being able to employ and essentially provide for other humans, right, who work inside of your organization.
Definitely. And that's just where it comes right back to, you want to be placing employees, human employees in your business that actually impact your scale, which, for an example, if we're talking about HVAC companies, that's your techs. If we're talking about roofers, it's the actual roofers. People who can complete more service jobs, the name of your business, if it's a gym, personal trainers. You really just want to have capacity to grow because, again, it depends on your personal ambitions. But typically, if somebody's getting into online marketing and they want to be driving revenue, they want to be booking more jobs, at some point, if they want to continue to grow, they need more service people, not more appointment bookers, especially today with AI.
Yeah, 100%. So if you're a local business, whether you want to work with InfraScale or someone else, whoever it is, get it in your business. You're in business for maybe a few reasons. Maybe you're in business because you genuinely love what you do and how it serves people, which should be, one of the core reasons everyone's in business. And then maybe you're in it also because you want to make profit. And whether that's you want to make enough profit to fund your lifestyle or you want to grow an organization and build an empire, AI is going to help you get there. And it's going to help the people that you're employing and paying to also have an enriched life because you're increasing opportunities for income for the business, which increases opportunities immediately or down the line for income potential for your current employees to grow and be promoted, or, just to hire new employees and hire people who can then go and provide for themselves and or their families or whomever else, other loved ones, their communities and so forth. So it's wonderful if it's used in a way that contributes to human flourishing. Is how I think of it.
And just to top that off, I have to believe that 100% of business owners, they either want a business that's going to be sellable one day, whether it's for them, their children, or they want a business that's going to drive retirement income to them and their families without them having to be so involved in the business at one point. Whether you're in either of those boats, AI is really the thing that's going to help you get there. And we've talked about this before. Companies that have AI are driving, 3 to 4x the valuation of those that don't have AI. So for anybody who doesn't understand what that means, that just simply means that businesses with AI are selling for 3 to 4 times more than companies without. And if that's not enough to want to get you involved with somebody, then I don't know. You must really enjoy just doing a lot of hard work.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, guys, get into AI. And so anyhow, just want to say thanks for listening to the InfraScale podcast today with Rob and I. This podcast is where AI finally meets the trades, the shops, and the real world, not just the major big tech companies or anything like that. If today's episode gave you something to act on, please subscribe, leave a review, or leave a comment down below, depending on which platform you're watching or listening in on this at, and share it with another business owner who's ready to scale without the chaos of not having something like AI in their business. This show is powered by InfraScale, helping local businesses win with AI automation. Until next week, take care.
See you then.